to get this money, trying 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 to get this money.
When I was a college student, I knew I wanted to make more money so that I could pay for tuition. Most people, when they think about making more money or how to save more money, they think about where can I cut my expenses. For me, I was already so frugal that there was no spending any less money. So then I thought, well, there's another way to make more money and to save more money, and that's actually to increase your income. So instead of focusing on decreasing expenses, I looked at how could I increase my income so that I can pay for tuition. So I looked at my options, and there's a lot of jobs that I could have taken that were minimum wage jobs. But then I thought about how can I separate my time that I'm putting in from the income that I'm making. So I started thinking about being an entrepreneur, doing something more business-oriented, a sales job. A sales job is really cool because it's a job where the harder you work, the more money you can make. And that was the first time I was exposed to that, so I got really excited because I know that I can work really, really hard and make a ton of money. And I would not be able to do that at a normal job, Wendy's, McDonald's, American Eagle.
Girls that I played basketball with, some of them after practice, they would have like the 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift at the local Islands restaurant, waitressing for 5 hours after a long day. You know, I saw their schedule and I was like, I don't want to do that. That's too much. I think that you have to be smart with what kind of job opportunity that you choose. You know, working at the mall, I don't think it's very smart. I think maybe somewhere where they do tip, you know, if you're not going to go into sales. But I would suggest there's so many sales jobs out there.
When you're with a company that is a clock in, clock out type job, you're handicapped in your ability to make money within that specific organization. Ideally, students want to be in an environment like sales where they have the ability to control their income based on their own personal growth and the time that they invest into themselves and into the organization and into their job.
One recommendation for students is to start your own business. So you don't have to graduate to start your own business, but what happens is once you graduate and you try to apply for a job, the one thing they say that you don't have is experience. So I would say your freshman year, brainstorm, start a business, start an LLC, so that by the time you graduate, you got 4 years of earnings history. So then you have that experience, maybe even more experience for the people who are in grad school, and that can kind of set you ahead.
I think students should have a side hustle, and they should be working and doing something not only that they enjoy, but they can make them money. And in today's day and age, it's easier than ever. I wish when I was in college, had access to what's available online now and ways to make money. And even if you're only making an extra couple $100s a month, like that's something.
Hey, Michelle. I love working for myself just because I can control my own income. I think the easiest suggestion that I can make to someone that is working a day-to-day job or a part-time job making like minimum wage and they have student loans or credit cards is just take a step back and just be like, what's wrong in this equation? You know, what could I change that would instantly make, you know, this a little bit better? And I think right there, it's the job. I think if you're mathematically making $10 an hour and you have, you know, credit cards that have interest rates of 20%, 25%, student loans at 8%, it's like, it's a cycle of debt that you're not going to get out of, or it's going to be very, very tough on a $8, $10, even a $15 hour job. So that's why I'm a huge advocate of sales. It doesn't matter what type of sales, just find something that you like, you're passionate about, you're growing in, and you don't have a cap on your income. Nowadays with sales, a lot of sales roles you can just do remotely. I have friends selling items on Amazon that they don't do any warehousing for. You know, on Instagram, Facebook. We live in such a connected world that there's so many opportunities for someone to be successful in their dorm room.
I work with clients who have a lot of wealth, and other than clients who have inherited that money, the common denominator to all of the clients is that they were able to create a gap between the money that they earned and the money that they spent. And that gap, I think, is critical. Sometimes people earn this much and spend this much, and then they earn more and they get raises and they increase their standard of living. Or what I see is students coming out of college and they go for the fancy apartment or a fancy car, or they feel now they have a job, and that's a license or opportunity for them to spend a lot of money. And I think about it the opposite. I think it's really important to always try to live beneath your means. I say that you can have nice things now and nicer things later. That's the advantage of saving and not spending, foregoing some of those nice things that you might want now, probably that you don't need. But the advantage of putting those things off and saving money and creating that gap between how much you earn and how much you spend, that's the money that helps you build wealth. And the earlier that you can create that gap, the better off you're gonna be. I think one of the best and most effective ways to create that gap is to have a job where you have unlimited upside. And I've found those jobs in sales-like positions or entrepreneurial positions where I'm growing a business. So if you have a job or a business where you have that unlimited upside and you can grow your income quickly, then you can create a bigger and bigger gap. And the earlier you do that, the better, because you invest your money early and you benefit from the compounding of interest.
One of the biggest mistakes that young people make is they save what is left over each month. That sometimes means you're putting 20 bucks into your savings account or 100 bucks, and it's just not enough. So instead, what you need to do is pay yourself first. And that's all something we've heard of, we know to do, and in reality it can be challenging because it kind of goes against your instincts. But you want to pay yourself first. So decide the amount of money you're going to save or pay yourself. Once you get your paycheck, take that amount out. Very first thing that you do, put it straight into your savings account. Better yet, automate it so that it's deposited directly from your paycheck into your savings account, and that way you don't even see it. So out of sight, out of mind.
During my career of selling Cutco, I had the ability to have Cutco and Vector partner with a company called Smith Barney, which allowed me to take money out of my paycheck and go straight to a savings account. And the habit of basically taking money out before it even touches my bank account, my checking account, allowed me to separate myself from the actual amount I was making and forced me to live on a smaller income and create a lifestyle around that income while still being able to save a significant amount of money at the same time.
So I was very fortunate with my company that you can withhold money, and that's one thing that I did, but I also did it on my own as well. So when I would get my monthly bonus, I wouldn't even get it. It would just go into a separate saving account that, in order for me to touch, I would just have to send an email to my manager. So it was like kind of like a safe harbor. It was like building firewalls between myself and my money. So I didn't like, if I wanted an extra $100, I would have to email somebody, and then I'd be like, I don't want to email them. Like, it's too much of a hassle. I can make do with what I have right here. And then it kept growing and growing and snowballing and snowballing. And by the time I was done with college, I was like, oh my gosh, I have $50,000 just in this one account. I was like, that's so cool.
So my recommendation to students with regards to student loans is to avoid them at all costs.
because you don't understand how much student loan interest is. It's insane. It's unforgivable debt.
There's so many careers out there that you do not need a college education for, and just going to college for the experience is a very, very expensive experience.
Don't just go to college just because you feel like that's what you're supposed to do. But you shouldn't spend more in your college education than you would earn in your first year in your career, because it's going to be really hard to recoup that investment if you're going out and spending $100,000 plus on your college education.